So this is another listener write-in, and I kind of mentioned it on the last episode with Lauren and Alejandra about like a girl that ended up like having scratches and marks on her, but I couldn't find the story for that episode. She heard it, messaged me and was like, "Hey, I think you were talking about me." And I was like,
Oh,
"Yes."
nice.
Scrolled up, like the pictures were right there. It was perfect. So she goes, "I want to start off by saying I've been having paranormal experiences my whole life. They don't happen super often, but at least every few months, I have some sort of experience. This experience happened literally a week before I moved out of my parents' house. It was a really late night, and I was sleeping but woke up hearing things on my desk being moved around. I turned my head and looked at my desk and saw someone sitting at it, their back facing me.
Can you imagine?
I was really confused and said, 'Dad?' Rationally thinking it was my father because he gets home from work late. Whoever was at my desk, though, was not my father. The figure turned around and I was met with the face of what I think was a woman, but I couldn't tell because it was horribly disfigured.
Oh my God.
It looked like someone had taken a hammer to her face and just wreaked havoc. Now, when I saw this, of course, my reaction was, what the fuck? And I grabbed my phone and turned on my flashlight. And of course, like all horror movies, she was gone. And I was left on my bed feeling uncomfortable with
Yeah.
my dog who was growling in that general direction. Now you may wonder, did I run? Did I scream? Did I go into my parents' room freaked out of my mind asking to sleep with them? I didn't. I sat there for a second and was like, "Welp, it's not like she tried to hurt me." And then, like the Taurus I am, I went back to sleep.
Damn.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
I know. I responded. I was like, "That is fucking terrifying."
Yeah, this girl's a badass.
Like, no, thank you.
It was a girl, right?
Yes, it's a gal. So I said all that, and then she goes on to say more. "Thank you. What's even scarier is it's 100% true, and I still have experiences like that to this day, but I'm used to it. The only time I ever got scared was when something touched me." And she goes, "Hold on, I have pictures. I was in my dorm room alone when my puppy Rue was barking at me, which was weird. And when I got up, I saw myself in the mirror and saw this."
You can have dogs in the dorm? What? Could you at your school?
Some people got dogs, especially if they were like emotional support animals or service dogs, of course, because they can
Well, yeah, but
go everywhere.
That's great.
So she like sends me pictures. I'll show you all the pictures after.
Okay, yeah.
And I got really freaked out and called my friends to come over. And while they were sitting in my room with me, they watched this mark suddenly form on my neck. I hadn't even been touching it. It was really freaky. But luckily, I moved out of that dorm and into my apartment and haven't had that happen since.
Who's in the dorm now?
That's the picture of the marks. Like, it looks like fingerprints. It's almost like someone gave you a 5-star, but just the fingerprints showed up, or like just the finger marks showed up. It's not like she was breaking out into hives where it's like just patchy blotches. Like, it looks like someone scratched her.
So what if then you got the information that the person after her also got those marks randomly in that room?
Then there's a ghost. And then this is the one on her neck that like literally looks like a scratch mark.
Yeah.
Like, ugh. So scary. And the fact that her dog was barking at her. Like,
dogs are badass.
Out of character, just barking at her. Animals
I
know.
know.
Animals can see that shit. Animals and little babies.
Well, dogs know when like storms are coming and shit.
Yeah, oh God, my dog sure does.
Well, so here's my thought, because we haven't hit this yet. Do you think there are people who are predisposed to be able to perceive this stuff?
Yes.
And do you think there are people that are not?
Yes.
And why would that be?
I think there's certain people that just have a gift that can connect to that different energy or the veil or other planes of energy. I really do believe in psychics. I actually had one listener write in, and her grandma and her mom have spiritual / like psychic abilities. And she has like some form, but like it's not as like, I don't want to say intuitive, but it's not as attuned, maybe is the better word. It's not as intense as what her grandma and her mom have. But I also think it's something that like, if you use it if you don't use it, you lose it. Like you hear about these kids who play in a room by themselves talking to a ghost. And the mom is like, "Who are you talking to?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm talking to Grandma Jerry." And they're like, "We've never even told this kid about their Grandma Jerry." Or like the name of some relative or the name of a ghost or the name of a dead child that used to live there. Like there's crazy stories like that. And there's also stories about kids who, as they're growing up, are like, oh, there was this one story. It was on the news. It was like
Mm-hmm. I
this
know what you're
little
talking about.
this little boy who was like, yeah, I was in a plane and I was shot down and
Near this ship, and I was
near.
stationed here,
Yes, and they like remember their past lives.
and they remember like their friends from war.
Yes. So it's like I think there's so many people that have these gifts and they never learn how to use them, or just as you get older and you're told, "Oh, it's not real," or just you don't use it, you lose it.
So if you're not one of those people that can connect, can you force it by going into the situation like the guy in the first story? Can you force it by putting yourself in situations where you are going into the thick of it?
Yeah, I mean, he was probably definitely like I don't know a lot about this, but out of all like the places that I interact with, like I'm not really going into houses that have had a lot of traumatic events happen in them on a daily basis for my job. Like that's his daily job.
Yeah.
So he's daily putting himself into like these high energy or like traumatic areas. So yeah, I think like if you're constantly going into those areas, you're opening yourself up to like a greater potential. It's
Yeah.
like playing the lottery. Like it's like if I don't play the lottery, I have no chance of winning. But he's playing the lottery daily. So
Yeah, I mean, I think it seems as if all these encounters are happening when they're not being sought out.
mm-hmm.
It's not like the girl is sleeping and thinking, "Ooh, like I'm trying to meet a ghost."
No, I didn't think that in Palm Springs.
Right. Is that
Fuck
your one
no.
and only?
Yeah, my one and only real one that if someone asked me, "Have you had a paranormal experience?" I would say yes, and I would say that story.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't think I've had like other creepy experiences, but
Yeah.
that was like
Well, it's like of course with this girl's story, you're going to get people on both sides.
yeah.
Um but it would be, quite interesting if I looked at my arm and all of a sudden something was appearing after I had some experience. Like
Well, and just the computer one, like we're just talking about the scratch marks and everything, but like
right.
the computer experience where it's like you wake up out of a sleep and you're like staring at your desk and someone's sitting there. And to see, a woman's face that is just so,
No,
disfigured.
that again, another script. Like these are good movies. These could be great movies cuz that is a freaking that's not even a horror movie. That's like something
Did
beyond.
you hear the paranormal episode I did with Alejandra and
A little
Lauren
bit.
about like the paranormal investigator that actually went to the old hotel and he like walked in to the like this other realm and he turned around when he got back outside calling his uncle and it was all gone.
Yeah. Well,
That
yeah, we were kind of talking about that.
oh my god, that one is like crazy. That's like I mean, that's what I mean. Like and after like, the YouTube comments and everything too, I think like a lot of people were like all of his batteries died because those ghosts needed so much energy to maintain that like mirage or that like I don't know what the word I'm searching for is, but like that experience essentially. That's why like all their batteries were drained.
Well, and then it it makes you wonder then, okay, if this is truly a thing, then well, like why is the boy coming back and talking about his past life, but these other ghosts are kind of stuck in this,
Stuck.
you know what I'm saying? Like it's just kind of
I know.
interesting
Like
if
what determines if you get reincarnated versus you stay stuck?
just this
I
whole other
know.
world.
I know it's crazy. I always like felt like I haven't talked about it recently, but when I was younger, I always was like, yeah, just feel like I was reincarnated from like Marie Antoinette era, minus, the guillotine and all the beheading, but like I just had like such a connection to that like time period, but I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird to think about.
To be determined.
I know. I know. Somewhere far, far in the future.